It's now time for my third installment of races on Le Mans Ultimate, and after being very impressed with the racing on the platform the first 2 weeks, things were about to take a dramatic turn downwards in this third crack at the platform. The combination of the short circuits and shorter races versus previous weeks certainly caused some drama, and while I have some thoughts about why this has occurred, which I'll share at the end of the video, I couldn't help but being a little bit frustrated and a bit disappointed about how all of these races went down. But enough talk, let's dive into the action and show you how it all went down. So we're straight into the action here. Bahrain paddock circuit. I've qualified 5th here in this split 3 of 24 race here in Le Mans Ultimate, and we are underway, green light, and down towards this very tricky opening sequence of corners here at this Bahrain paddock variation circuit. We're going to stick to the inside here. Don't want to make it 3 wide down into turn 1. However, we've got some very aggressive cars coming down the inside there, waiting for some collisions. None of those actually happen there, and we've got almost making it 3 wide once again through the turn 2-3 complex. Now the shortcut section, a very tricky corner here. It invites the dive bomb, but we all get through there really cleanly this race. Very thankful for that as we head down the back straight for the very first time. Now we've slipped back to position number 10, and we've got a car on our inside here as we come up towards turn number 6. He's going to take that inside line, looking to sweep around the outside here, which is doable, hard on cold tyres, and that McLaren gets in front. Now up in front, we're about to have full chaos here. McLaren gets collected, the Ferrari comes up through the middle, a door opens there, and we manage to get through the wreckage. However, as we come around turn number 8 here down the back straight, I then work out that I have wheel damage. Somehow through that I have managed to clip the McLaren, and I'm in shock that my wheel is now not straight. Let's look at the replay here. I've got that McLaren on the inside trying to go around the outside, but a lot going on up in the front. A rejoining Ferrari from the inside of the circuit there, but BMW McLaren, they touch. The Ferrari goes straight into the McLaren there. That door opens, but you see that very small touch there on my front right. We see it from the onboard here, is enough to give me that wheel damage. It's the tiniest of touches. I didn't even notice it. You can see how much chaos that produced behind. Fortunate to get through, but now carrying that little bit of wheel damage. Right, all the way up now to lap number 6, and we are in 6th place carrying that bit of damage. I have driven up to the back of this number position 5 McLaren as we come down towards turn number 1, and we're hoping to just make our way through the field a little bit here. He's run a little bit wide at turn 1 as we go through the kink of turn 2 and 3, and so we take a wider line here into turn 4, trying to get a really good exit, which we do, and immediately go alongside here this McLaren. Behind we have the Porsche. The McLaren moves to defend, and the Porsche actually goes through up the middle here, making it 3 wide as we head down to turn number 6. Unfortunately unable to do anything about that, cautious, and that allows the Porsche to go through. Big slide on the exit, but he's got enough momentum there to stay in position 6. We drop down to position number 7, trying to come up to this turn number 8, and the Porsche in front, he does a big dive, outbrakes himself a little bit, and they collide at the apex as expected, or should have been expected by that Porsche, and he then spins off into the infield, so we go back to position number 6. Lap number 7 now into the final turn, and this was a really strong part of the track for the Ford Mustang. Good exit here would get you into the slipstream of the car in front. We use all that power that Ford has to then get into the slipstream. Behind I've got another Porsche there, so just keeping an eye on him, but we're eyes forward for this one. Good little bit of momentum here as we come down to turn number 1. Show the inside, but it's not quite enough to throw it up the inside. Trying to get a late apex here. The McLaren, he goes wide at the turn, and we are able to elevate ourselves up to now position number 4. However, as we come to turn 4, we get absolutely sideswiped by a car behind out of absolutely nowhere there, and we're going to have to look at the replay to work out what on earth has happened there. Waiting for this BMW so I can get back on track. We go all the way down to position number 13. So let's jump into the replay now. You see I get that move done, and we are looking to just sail on away here for the remainder of this race, but from 3 cars back, the Ferrari, no idea what
is going on there. Just a very ambitious move, outbrakes themselves by a country mile, and you can see how from far back this happens. I'm not entirely sure what's happened, but he's missed the braking point by a good couple of car lengths and absolutely destroys my right hand rear quarter, and then simply drives off. No look at a redress there, and it was a real shame because that is a silver 2 safety rated driver. In theory, the safer ones on the platform. So not a great experience, if I'm perfectly honest. 13th for that race in the end, and we're just going to have to reset and try again here at the Bahrain paddock circuit. And unfortunately, race 2 was not going to be any better for me. This is quite a quick one to show you, in fact, and that might give you a sense of what is about to unfold. But position number 8 in this split 2 of 22 race, and we are up the inside once again as we come down to turn number 1. Now I want to be a little bit more aggressive here into turn 1 to stop anyone dive bombing behind. Just sticking behind this BMW, lots of 3 wides behind. We come through the kink here in a nice little piece of racetrack, 7th position. Now up the inside comes the blue Mustang into turn number 4. We lock wheels a little bit and he drives me clean off the track into the barrier that would normally be closed off for the GP circuit, and we bounce directly back into the field and have a monstrous accident as a result. This is the problem with these shortcut circuits. The shortcuts are just a jinky little piece of track. The barriers are all in the wrong place. You can see he's dived up the inside there but leaves no space on the exit and just runs me clean into the barrier. Nowhere to go for all these cars behind. A good 10 cars involved in that one, and you see once again it's just the problem with this piece of racetrack. It invites the dive bomb, but you need to make the corner and you need to leave space. He didn't back out of it once he got into the side of me there, and that has run me off the track. Obviously we turn the car around and try and drive off, but the car is just too badly damaged, will not drive in a straight line, and we pull over to retire from that race. So 2 from 2. Terrible driving from a few drivers there, caught right in the middle of it, and not having a particularly fun time this week on Le Mans Ultimate. A few days later, and we are willing to give Le Mans Ultimate another go for this week's of racing, and we're going to find ourselves at the Sebring school circuit. Now this one has a similar layout to Bahrain, where you get through turn 1 and then you have this little shortcut piece of racetrack to get you back into the final sector. Now we're showing you qualifying here, and the main thing to point out is the man on pole, Sam Gaskell, the 2nd top rated driver in ACC and low fuel motorsport, now giving Le Mans Ultimate a go, as so many ACC players are. He's qualified there with over a second advantage on me in 13th for this race, starting 14th by the time qualify finishes off. So we're near the back of the grid. A lot of chaos could unfold here, so we just want to be very cautious, very careful, try and have a clean race this week on Le Mans Ultimate. We're going to come through turn 1, a bit of shuffling all around, holding that outside line there, and then we come up to this very tricky little piece of shortcut circuit. Nice and cautious on the brakes. Got a McLaren on the inside which turns into me a bit there, actually gives me some front bumper damage, and we're going to come out the other side there, staying in our 14th place starting position, and finally getting through a turn 1, unlike the previous race. Now this a little back section of Sebring is quite a fun section, and the Mustang can get it right up over this inside curve and try and get a really good run down the back straight. So it kind of had a lot of the fun parts of the Sebring circuit in this short circuit. Now we're going to come down the back straight here. Everyone's got a bit of a slipstream at the moment. We're going to come into this final turn and watch the yellow Mustang behind. He throws it up the inside there, manages to get it stopped. We managed to avoid him, trying to go around the outside there, but on the colder tyres it's a bit of a struggle, and he manages to get the run off the corner and he moves up 1 position. McLaren behind looking at a similar move, so we managed to cover him off as well. Finishing off that first lap 1 position down there in 15th place. Now coming around the very outside of the circuit is that Aston Martin. He doesn't get that done, however completely outbrakes himself launches it into the turn 2 complex, uses me to stop the car, and once again we are dive bombed, moved off circuit, and no redress is given at all by these drivers. It's a bit of a shame considering there is no chat post race or any way of contacting these drivers. There's no way to apologize. You really need to try and do it on track if you are feeling sorry for the moves that you're pulling on other drivers. Not the case here in this race or some of the previous ones. So we're going to drop down a couple more positions once again as we come down the back straight here on turn 2, and just trying to find a rhythm here and trying to find a safe space. So all eyes forward into the final corner here. We've got the yellow Mustang. He gets a little bit of a slide trying to go up the inside of the McLaren in front, and as he drifts back to the racing line, overlaps with the green Aston Martin. They have a big accident on the front straight. We move right and then left to avoid it. A compromised run down the home straight for me. Lucky to avoid that accident, but from a few car lengths back, we get dived from this red and white BMW. We need to get out of that turn to avoid getting run off at the exit curb and getting a little bit frustrated at moves like this. I've had a few of them already in the 3 races this week on LMU, and it's not the nicest type of racing. Move ahead to lap number 4 into the final corner. We have a McLaren spun on the outside of the final turn, so we're going to pick up 1 place back to P15. And then at the end of the front straight here on this lap, the 2 cars coming together there at T1, another McLaren going around there on the outside of turn 1, which picks us up another position. We're going to move back to the P14 that we started out this race with. Pushing ahead though to the latter part of lap number 6, and I'm just trying to put on as much pressure as I can here with this BMW in front. I definitely had more pace than this car, but trying to execute a nice clean move. A good run down the back straight here. He moves to the inside to defend, so we're going to have to try and go around the outside here and see if we're able to hold on to it. Still working this corner out. There's lots of different ways you can take it, and as I try and crisscross there, that bump in the middle upsets the car a little bit. Nowhere to go down the inside as well, so once again we are stuck behind this car. The Aston Martin behind putting a bit of pressure on as well. Now, again, a bit of more of a run down the front straight, show the nose to the inside but not throwing it up the inside there. Compromised run from that BMW and just trying to get a good run onto that back straight now. As we come down, outbrake myself a little touch there, upsetting myself there a bit, and we're going to run wide, watching the rejoin as well, losing a couple of places, but fortunately not compromising that BMW too much through my mistake. Now I'm push ahead a lap, and we're going to see the Aston Martin get turned around from the McLaren behind, the Aston Martin running wide, the McLaren then driving through him a little bit, and then look at this one here, the McLaren bumps the BMW into that critical braking zone for the back straight, and he just pushed wide, and that gives us a run down the back straight as well, trying to follow those McLarens through. So through all of that, we are back to position 14 once again, that starting position, a really up and down race for sure. Through this final turn, the BMW really throwing it up the inside there. I'm a little bit wide as well. Going to hold on to the outside line here, try and get a really good exit, and very fortunately get enough momentum around the outside to hold on to that one into the final part of the race here. And for me, that is where that one finished up in position 14, where I started the race from. Very up and down, lots of little moments in that one, and fortunate to just finish where I started there. Not the cleanest race, but we will take it considering the issues I had in the 2 previous races. So time for one final crack of Le Mans Ultimate for the week. We are starting out of P6, the split 4 of 23 race here, and we are hoping to have a nice clean one and a good result to show that the speed is there in these races. Now coming down to turn 1, trying to be nice and cautious there, a little bit of contact, those 2 BMWs in front. Got the outside line here and going to hold it nice and wide, and in fact the issue is behind us, 3 wide behind into that turn 2 kink, cause a bit of a drama there. So we get up into turn 4 nice and calmly, and we get out the other side there to start this race off with. End of lap number 2 now, and action up in front. Lots of cars looking to overtake here. Now I'm going to show you this incident here between this Porsche and Aston Martin. The Porsche runs wide and gets loose on the corner exit of the last lap, and as he comes back on track, a little overlap there, and he gets turned into the wall. That puts us up into position number 6 and will cause some drama later in the race here. Now as we come down the home straight, BMW and Aston Martin now with that compromised exit from the Aston, they're going to go side by side into turn 1, and in fact we get launched at by this McLaren behind, run very wide to avoid him. He was not leaving space on the exit as well, so once again getting dived, and once again as well into turn 4, this BMW, he launches it up the inside as well, and it doesn't quite make the corner apex. Also again, frustrating moments here, these, whether it's just circuit design or it's just the patience from drivers behind, getting it all thrown at me this week, and it is very frustrating. Now, the first time I've ever seen an intentional takedown in sim racing ever, it's unfolding right here. That Porsche, he did not take kindly to the incident he had with that Aston Martin, although it's pretty clear on the replay it was initiated by his poor exit, big slide out of that final corner. He looks to take out that Aston Martin there. Now it obviously goes without saying, but if you do get taken out in a race, I totally understand the frustration as we watch this BMW and McLaren go side by side, but please do not ever take it on yourself to try and intentionally take out drivers in this race. Here we are at the next lap, and that Porsche is back to try and finish the job on that Aston Martin. You see at the top corner, he takes a swing and the miss, but he does come back and does slam into the Aston Martin, but then drives him onto the track and ruins even more people's races. A good 3 or 4 other drivers involved in that one. It's just not fair on everyone else. Please keep those emotions in check if you ever get in this sort of thought pattern. Have a look at the replay, sort it out with reporting. Now we're going to jump back into the race. With all that behind us, I really want to try and finish this race off with some positives for the week. We're getting a really nice run on this McLaren down into T1. Here's the nice clean way to do a turn 1 overtake, leaving some space on the exit, but my drive out of the corner is enough, holding it around the outside of T2, and that's going to give us the racing line into turn number 4, and we are away there now up to position number 6 with 6 minutes to go in this race. Jump ahead to the start of lap number 9 now, and we've made our way to the back of this BMW up in front. He's got a run on what was the leader of this race, in fact, who had a little moment a few laps ago. He goes down the inside there, a nice pass by that blue BMW, and that's going to allow us to now put some pressure on this red BMW to try and claim a top 5 position there. Now we actually have a little bit of a touch there out of turn 4, and not enough to cause any dramas. And the very next lap, lap number 10, I get my first shot at this BMW here down the front straight. He moves to the inside to defend, and we're going to try and go around the outside. I was a little bit cautious under brakes there, could have been a little bit more aggressive, so by the time we come out of T1, he is back in front once again. I'm going to look at a nice exit here out of turn number 4. Really tricky corner to actually get right in racing. It's a late apex, which is going to allow the really nice run down the back straight. I don't get it quite right that time, putting a little bit of distance away now to that BMW, but the latter part of this lap is really where the BMW is strong. Coming down to turn 6 here, you can get on the throttle nice and early, use that traction control and slip angle control to really get the car rotating, and then you can be quite aggressive over this turn 7 here, getting on the throttle, open over this curb, and then trying to brake early to get the car nose down into T8, and really a crucial exit here onto this long straight before the final corner. So we've got a little bit of a run here, and we're going to try and close in, and this last corner I need to get right on this lap. We've only got a few laps to go here in this race, and we get a nice exit out of the final corner, and we are back in the slipstream here to finish off lap number 10 and get on to the very final lap of the race. If I want this top 5, we need to make it happen in this lap. Getting a really good run here. He once again goes to the inside to defend, so we're going to try and be a bit more aggressive under brakes here to try and go around the outside. We're going to hold a little bit of an overlap here into T2. It's going to force him to give some space at the apex, and then we're going to take a much wider line into turn 4 as a result and get a really nice run out of turn 4 right in the slipstream now of that BMW down this back straight towards turn number 6. Now we're going to pull across onto the outside line, try and hold him to the inside. He tries to move across where the nose is there, and then he outbrakes himself a tiny bit with me back on the racing line, and we're able to crisscross really nicely with great drive from this Mustang and get up the inside out of turn 6. Now crucial that we get these last corners right to seal this top 5 position. We're okay through turn 8, a little bit wide, but the BMW is a little wider. He gets a big wiggle out on the exit, and that opens up the gap we need to come to this last corner and claim this top 5 position. Really happy with how that battle unfolded. Thank you very much to that driver for a really intense fight, and it's nice to end the week off with a really positive battle there on track. It does show where Le Mans Ultimate can go in terms of how good the racing can be. However, it did take me 4 whole races to get a moment like that in this week of LMU racing. So we finished that one off with a P5, and to conclude the week and show the stats, we are staying in a driver rank bronze 3 and the safety rating recovering a little bit to stay in bronze 2. So a tough week of Le Mans Ultimate, but I learnt a lot about the platform and we'll need to move on to the next one.
So, battered and bruised, we conclude that week of Le Mans Ultimate. And I'm honestly going to say that I came away a bit frustrated and a bit disappointed. But why the sudden change of experience? Well, I think it comes down to a couple of reasons. First off is circuit choice and race format. These circuits certainly enticed a more ambitious style of passing opportunity, particularly at the shortcut sections, and these races were only 15 minutes. And with a short qualifying session, if you were out of position at the start, you had a bit more of an intense thought pattern to try and get back through the field in only that 15-minute time slot. And second of all is the contact physics of LMU. I think some players are really starting to learn the boundaries of these contact physics and are starting to lean on them in a way to be a bit more aggressive in the way that they pass on track. I don't think this is how LMU intended these contact physics to be used. It's nice that a small contact doesn't bounce us off circuit or create a spin like it does in other games, but always using those physics to muscle your way by other drivers is certainly not the nicest way to experience the sim. Now there is a small thought of worry that this will continue to be a problem in future weeks of Le Mans Ultimate for me, as some of the drivers I had issue with were already silver safety rated drivers, and in theory should be a lot more safe out on track. However, the really positive experience of that battle in the final race gave me plenty of hope that Le Mans Ultimate will continue to grow and be back to the good racing I experienced in the first few weeks. So I'm very hopeful that that is the next experience that I get to show you. Of course, if you can remember back to your races on these short circuits, then please let me know in the comments what was your experience during that week of Le Mans Ultimate. Did you have the same dramas that I had, or did you have some other better experiences out on track? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed already and want to see more of my Le Mans Ultimate action, then please consider hitting that subscription button. But as always guys, let's race hard, stay positive, and we'll see you again soon in another video. Cheers.